I guess you could say, I was doing news at KKLZ here when it was a good station, and having an awesome time with the best morning show we ever had, Johnson Tofty. And I was the news director and public affairs director of the radio station. And one day the program director pulled me aside and said, "We've got this Breakfast with the Beatles thing we do every Sunday." And it was 2 hours of Beatles music, and Jeff Anderson was doing it. I don't know if you know Jeff, long time, great guy, great radio personality here in town, but he's pretty much playing them, and it wasn't really the kind of show where it was a documentary kind of feel where you got to know a lot about the Beatles. So I learned a lot of new stuff. I relearned everything I knew and took the job and never looked back. That was in 1991.
Oh, okay. You've been at this for quite some.
He's been at it a
Oh,
lot.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
When I was going to college to do this, I would listen to him. They used to run it on KLSX in LA.
Oh, that was a different Breakfast with the Beatles. There are a bunch of Breakfasts with the Beatles, believe it or not, and some big towns have their own. Mine was the Las Vegas version. However, since then, starting about 2002, I took the show syndicated, and now I'm on in Detroit, I'm on in Denver, I'm on in New Zealand, Australia, Paris, all over the world. So there are still a few Breakfasts with the Beatles hosted by other guys in different cities that are their own little local show. Mine's the only one that's on more than one radio station.
How many stations are you on?
60.
60.
Wow. Yeah, 60 worldwide, nice. About 45 North America. Like I said, a few of the big cities I mentioned, and the smaller towns hither and yon as well. San Luis Obispo, California, lots of places. I just
Obispo.
added SLO, baby. Just added Flagstaff, and I'm always very proud to add new stations to the show, especially internationally. So in the last couple of weeks, I've been able to tell people Sydney, Australia, Paris, France, and Flagstaff, Arizona. One time I was able to brag to all my friends I was on in Atlanta, Illinois. Not kidding. There's a classic rock station there. It's gone now, but yeah.
Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Where a guy owns a radio station. Kid you not, his name's Dennis Mitchell.
Nice.
Really?
Wow. He owns K-Fun in Las Vegas, New Mexico. Yeah.
Oh, that's not as fun. Las Vegas, New Mexico.
You been there?
No.
Oh, it's nowhere near as fun. Trust me.
I've heard about it.
So how long have you been in radio?
Oh, geez. I hosted my first show in February of 1970.
Wow.
And it was at high school doing the weekly Top 40 Countdown show. And the first record I ever played was No Time by the Guess Who. And that was every I think it was every Saturday morning at 9 we would go in, and it was from my high school. It's about 6 of us radio nerds would put together a show with a little Top 40 Countdown. Then we had to do high school news and all the stuff that you to be able to say you were doing something legitimate,
right, yeah.
Not just going in and playing DJ, which is what we all really wanted to do. So that was kind of how it started. And after high school, did the usual telecommunication thing in college, junior college. Moved to the Bay Area, did a little junior college radio up there. But my career didn't really start in earnest until I moved to Las Vegas. Started in 1981. Literally changing the reel-to-reel tapes at an overnight situation.
I did that on KMNY 1600 AM in LA.
Oh,
wow. Had to
wow.
change the reel-to-reel tapes at midnight, and I had to sit there and monitor. And it was the worst station because they were a financial radio station.
KMNY, yeah, money. I remember that.
Yeah, it was horrible.
That's great.
And then I found old Dr. Demento reel-to-reels.
Yeah.
And one night I put one on at 3 o'clock in the morning because I was bored. The program director called me and goes, "Why is Dr. Demento on right now?" "I don't know. It just started." It
It's fucking amazing.
It's so weird.
Yeah,
so bizarre.
See, what had happened was...
I hear you there. This was soft rock. I had to do soft rock, the tapes that I was changing over here at
Yeah, I had to do that. And
KEYD.
I had to go monitor the wattage of the tower.
Right. Well, as a matter of fact, the very first paying job I ever had was what you just said in San Bernardino, California. Had to drive up a mountain,
San Bernardino.
sit in a cinder block building, and take transmitter readings all night long. I think I got $16 check. That was the first check I ever made in radio.
Yeah.
And dodge the potato bugs, which were as big as my hand. trying to get through the building at night. It was a wonderful experience. That was my start in broadcasting.
Yeah, my friend was always like, "Why do you work that station?" I'm like, "I'm hoping one day to have my own financial show." Because every radio gig you take, the first one's always the shittiest.
Well, you work your way up. That's true. It's the way it used to be. Nowadays, you never know. Look how it is with music artists anymore. You used to have to work your way up with that too, but now anybody with a laptop and a little
YouTube
spare time,
account.
Exactly. You really don't have to work your way up in some situations, but the quality comes from the people who do.
Yeah.
You know what? This is my first radio gig, and it is pretty shitty.
Yeah, right. Free beer, free food.
I'm just playing, Jay.
Yeah, right.
Fuck, it was
I
a
hope
joke,
everybody
buddy.
enjoys Darius's last day on the show today.
Jesus Christ.
Pretty sweet deal.
No, I love this shit, man.
5 years from now, you got your own financial advisory show.
That's what I'm talking about. AM radio, here I come, motherfucker. Do they still have AM radio other than for sports?
Yeah, I think
so.
they're going to use it for telemetry pretty soon. Getting down to that's all that's left. of it.
AM and FM will be used for that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, my radio instructor in college hated me just for the fact that I was interning with Dr. Demento and KLSX before I started doing classes there. And Dr. Demento is the one that gave me the name Crazy J. So he was like, "You can't use that name when you're on the air." And I'm like, "What the?" I go, "Why?" And he goes, "DJs with fictitious names don't have a long-lasting career." I'm like, "Dr. Demento's been on for 30.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?" And he
Charlie
was like,
Tuna?
Yeah, he's like, "You can't use that." I'm like, "Wait a minute. You're Tony Quinn in the morning and you teach as Jim Bain." What
the fuck are you talking about?
And so I'll never forget the one assignment we had. We had to interview somebody. It could be anybody, just as long as they had something interesting to talk about. So I asked Dr. Demento, I said, "Hey, would you call in tomorrow during my shift for 15 minutes?
Wow.
And I'll do an interview with you."
Wow.
And he was like, "Sure, why not?" So he called in, and then the class listens, and they're taking notes or whatever. And so I was like, "So on our phone line today, he's been in radio 25 years, blah, blah, blah. Give it up for Dr. Demento." And I see the class go, "Oh," because everybody's like, they're interviewing like car dealers,
Whoever they can get.
yeah, their parents or grandparents. And I'm the only one in the class that got a celebrity.
Wow.
So after it was done, and I handed in my demo reel of the interview and stuff. The next day, he gives me my grade. He says, "I gave you a D for Demento."
Oh.
And I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Oh.
So the next semester, we had to do it again. And Weird Al's album was coming out. And I knew Al because of Dr. Demento. So I said, "Hey, can I come down to the studio and do an interview with you?" And he said, "Sure." So we did 15 minutes. I played it. Then I walked into his office this time after my air shift was done. I put the demo down on his desk and I go, "I'm expecting a W tomorrow." And it was a pass or fail class. And if you failed, you got to take it again.
Right,
So
I see.
when he gave me an F for Weird Al because he said I did too many ums in the interview, I was like,
That's
I go,
harsh, man.
I go, "If you don't like me, I get it, but don't fail me because I'm just gonna keep coming."
Dude.
So
I taught broadcasting. I taught it here in Las Vegas. A whole lot of people that came through the institution I was working for are still in this market or in other places in professional radio.
Yeah.
That's just harsh. That it really does boil down to personal BS.
yeah, he was a little jealous.
Because I would give assignments and things and or something you always watch for. You don't fail people for
And now
it.
I'm in a plush studio on the 44th floor, and he works up on 45. Why?
Where the losers
'Cause that's
go.
where the losers go.
Yeah. So I got a question for you two. Why radio?
It started when I was a kid. I think might be a slight generational difference. I don't know, but I was from the transistor radio under the pillow generation.
Yeah.
And pulling in radio stations from other towns. Although that wasn't really an issue with me. You hear from musicians like from Missouri and Oklahoma and places where they had to listen to radio from other places. I was in Southern California, so it was pretty damn good to begin with where we lived.
Right.
But at night, the whole universe opened up for you, and it was just the times and all the radio stations were playing that awesome blend. In 1966, the greatest year in the history of popular music, where you had music charts that had every different kind of music, and they all existed side by side on the radio. Well, that went on into the night, and it was so good. You felt like if you shut your radio off, you were going to miss something.
Yeah.
It was like, and that lasted well into the 70s with some stations, some directors and people who got it and knew that that's what radio was supposed to be. I was late for work sometimes when I finally moved to the Bay Area and stuff. I couldn't get out of the car because something good was on the radio. So I wanted to be a part of that. TV was one thing, but it was like if you could get a radio host to engage you and bring you through the experience, and he was doing it with you, nothing like that.
I was 16, discovered Dr. Demento, and that show was so different.
Oh, yeah.
There was nothing else like it, and it was like, what is he playing? It's like, and none of my friends really listened to it, so it was like just something I went and did. Like Sunday nights, 8 o'clock, man, I was in front of the radio just listening, and I'm like, what is he playing? Like, and it was just the most weird, obscure stuff, you know.
Shaving cream.
Yeah, and then just I ended up calling in so much to the show and just really getting to know everybody on there, and he gave me he played this one song, and when you're 16, it was the funniest song ever. Like I could not stop laughing. It was this song called "She Grabbed My Coconuts."
Okay.
So you figure out what those coconuts are, and it makes the song even funnier. And I just thought the song was really funny, and I requested it week after week, and he just wasn't playing the song. So the guys that were answering the phone, I'm like, why won't he play the song? They're like, we don't know, And so finally, after weeks of just requesting the same song, he was like, this is going out to somebody I'm calling Crazy Jay in Anaheim, who apparently really wants to hear this song, And he played it. I mean, so that's why I just stuck with the name. I'd call in every week. It's Crazy Jay, and then I got invited down a couple times to answer the phones. And,
wow!
And
That's
like Barnes
cool.
and Barnes hanging out there. Weird Al was hanging out there, and so that's just how I got to know all these guys.
Yeah.
So
By that time, I'd probably been listening to the Doctor for ages, because it was a staple of Southern California radio. It was if you were cool, you got that show, and you got what it was about, and it was just a wonderful little study each week. I'm in awe. You got to work with the man. That's
yeah,
great.
it was awesome, and I
Wow.
still talk to him because I do that Silly Sunday show on Sundays, which is like my little tribute to him.
Great job, by the way.
He'll call in every once in a while.
Really?
He'll listen from time to time and be like, because I did one show where we were doing answer songs. People wrote songs answering popular songs like, Are You Lonesome Tonight? And some girl would record a song, oh, yes, I'm lonesome tonight.
Answer back.
And that was he actually called in one day and said, hey, this is a cool topic. I'm listening. And he gave a little, brief little history about what answer songs were and stuff. So
Excellent.
like my fondest memory of him hanging out with him was Rhino Records in Santa Monica used to do little record sales like the last Sunday of every month, and you could get vinyl for as low as 5 cents.
Right.
So the first time they started doing this, he called me and he was like, "Hey, meet me at Rhino Records on Santa Monica. They're having a huge record sale." So we went, and he's down on his hands and knees. Here's this guy that's an expert in vinyls, and he's just digging. You'll need this. You'll need this. You'll need this.
Wow.
And these things are stacking up. I'm like, I don't got Dr. Demento money, so I don't know what I don't. And I ended up taking 175 records out of there, and it was like $30.
Wow. That's a great story, man.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it was cool to have that and just hang out with him and really get to know him and go to his house and just see the records everywhere.
So did that translate to making you a vinyl freak, though? Or
I got into a lot of vinyl. I still have a lot of vinyl.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
me too. And as happy as I am to see it come back and get the respect it deserves, I'm unhappy to see the albums $35 each.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'd really love to. Yeah, I'd love to replenish and get some of these 180-gram masterpieces that they're putting out. But geez, $30 each.
Yeah,
that's quite a bit. Especially when everything is available digitally, a whole lot cheaper.
Right.
But then you just got to get across to people why vinyl's so important. And I gotta say, I probably got enough to rest on where I really don't have to replenish. It's just when they re-release, I don't know, Exile on Main Street, 180 gram. Ooh, it looks really nice. You realize I've already got it,
Yeah.
So, you were telling us earlier you had a wall of vinyl.
Yeah,
How
pretty
long
much.
And a wall of CDs. How long did it take for you to collect all that and put that together?
Bought my first 45 in the year 1965.
Is that on the wall?
It started then. Actually, I don't know if I have any of the original first few years worth. Even the Beatles albums, I'm sure I have replaced over the years. I might have one or two from the original collection. The best story of which involves the Yesterday and Today album, and all you Beatles fans who are faithful will know the story of the Butcher cover.
Yes.
And they took this weird art
right
cover.
there.
You got one. Okay, you got a poster, the Incredible poster. Very good. Okay, well, that cover was recalled, as you know.
Crazy.
And they reissued thousands of them with the cover just pasted over with the one that, with them sitting in the truck. Well, I got one of those pasted over ones. And it was not a big deal back then. It was just kind of a story going around, and people, it was like, oh, you got one of those. Oh, huh. It was not the big deal it is now. So I faithfully peeled off that cover. I peeled, worked for a couple of hours. I worked, just scratching off little bits, peel.
Yeah.
And I probably got about, a little over a third of it done. And I figure I'll come back to it another time. And I set it on the dresser there, went out to wherever, school, whatever. And my mom had been cleaning and saw this torn album cover and threw it away. And the paste, I've forgiven her. But the paste covers.
I would have never forgiven her. Never, Mom.
Apparently, my mom was a huge Beatles fan and had all kinds of stuff. Buttons, paper dolls, lunch boxes, all kinds of stuff. And she got married, and when she went on her honeymoon, my grandma threw it all away. She thought my mom was getting married. She didn't need it anymore.
Yeah, why would you need Beatles stuff if you're married?
Exactly.
That's just
you don't need Paul.
Yeah.
That's just odd.
You got a husband now.
Okay, so I got one more question for you, Dennis, before we get
Darius.
off the air. And the question is...
Is this the question of the day?
This is the question of the day.
Oh, God.
I hope you suckers is ready.
Oh, no.
Now we got to get Dennis's point of view on it. Dennis, if you were visiting someone for the first time, would it be okay for you to take a shit at their house? And if not, what is an appropriate amount of time for you to wait before you take the first dump at their house?
You mean how many visits subsequently, or what length of time?
Like, if this is the first time you visit someone's house,
oh boy,
would you take a dump there the first time? And if not, how long is an appropriate time to wait for that first shit?
The answer, the initial. The main question, the thrust of the main question.
Yes.
Biology takes over, man. If I gotta go, I'm the most polite guy you'll ever meet. But if I gotta go, and you go in there and just hope to God there's a can of Lysol or a book of matches or something that if you've left an indelible mark, at the very least. Okay, and if you are able to squinch and not do it that time, I don't know. If you're invited back at all, I would think the second time would be good enough.
The second time is a good enough time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think so.
You got that from Dennis, y'all. There you go, man. Yeah.
Dennis's book of etiquette if you're going to take a crap.
So now one of the cool things about Dennis that we found out when we were down there at the Abbey Road Crossing dedication was he's a fan of the Rock and Comedy Show and actually listened while he was building his own online station.
It's true.
Nice.
It's true.
Really?
I've seen you guys forever and ever on Twitter, Facebook, and I'm an internet broadcaster too. So in looking over the listings and the cities and the stations and everything, this has popped up. You're having a 10-year anniversary?
September 24th.
Yes.
That's unbelievable, man. Nobody has webcast for 10 years. Nobody.
I actually have been on the internet pretty much since it started, because when I got out of college and all that, it was just kicking off. So it was like a year and a half later. If I would have waited to go to school a year and a half later, I would have learned everything about internet radio and all that stuff. Everything was changing. It all went digital.
Yeah.
So basically, I learned all that myself later on. But
you hit it just at the right time.
I got tired of sending out demo tapes, and people were like, no. And my friend was like, dude, just do internet radio. And I was like, what the hell is that? I mean, that's how new it was, because it was like, what the hell is that?
There's nothing like owning your own deal.
Yeah.
And I'm real proud of mine, and I've worked on it very hard with my partner Dan Lee, rest his soul. We got together after we both got the shaft from the Beasley stations here, and decided, that they should not have ended a station that was really functional and really making a lot of people happy.
Yeah.
So we kind of put our brains together with what we had learned down through the years and created a classic rock station that fills the void, we feel like. And like I said, it's just something to be real proud of, because you got nobody to answer to but you. And they're either, the numbers are there or they're not. The listeners are going to listen or they're not listening.
Yeah.
So you're connecting or you're not connecting. This is way better than fuzzy research where they put a bunch of people in a room who may or may not have ever heard of your radio station, give them $25 to write down 4 notes of a song and presses them. That's why your radio sounds the way it does. That's the way they do things. Well, with us and you and me both, we can look somewhere and see exactly who is listening, how many, and where. And how do you get better
awesome.
research than that?
That's awesome.
And we
So
get
if
their
you-
address, and if they piss us off,
Exactly
we
right.
go over there.
Hey,
You swat him.
Bust them in the kneecaps.
You bring the token black guy over there just to stand in the background, like, okay, we don't want no problems with y'all.
Increase your demographics.
He looks
Yeah.
at him. He's like, "You're gonna listen tomorrow, aren't you?"
You gonna listen. I don't even have to say anything. I just give him that face, like, oh, he ain't playing around. That's a black guy right there.
No security guard uniform necessarily.
Nothing. Yeah, I'm going over there in gangbang uniform. Like,
What does the black guy think?
well, this is the affirmative action portion of the show.
EEOC approved.
Yeah, no, that's cracker tested, Negro approved.
We gotta put that on a shirt.
Yeah, we could probably make some money on that shit.
T-shirt diner, do it, dude.
Yeah,
yeah.
we should.
Yeah.
All right, man.
It'll be available in the Rockin' Comedy Show store tomorrow.
Yeah, come check it out.
Get a big picture of a saltine on there.
Yeah.
Even back to what you said about owning your own deal, it's interesting what you said. You started your own station because you couldn't get hired at one.
Yeah.
I kind of work sometimes at one of the terrestrial outfits here in town, who's owned by a guy who was on the air here for years and years and years, and he's just been a fixture of local radio since like the 70s. And he confided in me once. He said, I got tired of getting fired, so I bought my own station. Even on the terrestrial level, it works that way. How do you get past all the crap that the corporations are laying on us all? Get your own and outdo them. Go right to the people instead of the little weird methods that they use.
I've always told people there's a billion podcasts out there.
Right.
And just because you can do a podcast doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We learned that with morning
it's easy
show.
to do.
Yeah, we learned that on the morning show. It's a lot of things those guys could have done they didn't need to do.
Yeah.
Just because you can. Should you really?
Should you? Yeah. But yeah, so that was my thing. As I got tired of just trying to.
Yeah.
And I've loved it since I was a kid. And I just wanted to do
this
it.
is how it is, and this is how I preach the gospel to everybody, and that's that. I recently had a car problem. I needed a rental or a loaner. They give you a loaner for a week while they're fixing your car. First time I ever experienced satellite radio, and I thought it was awesome, but it pissed me off too because I didn't hear anything on there that commercial radio stations couldn't do if they really wanted to.
Right.
They don't
Yeah.
want to.
Right.
They have it's a manifest destiny
Well,
thing.
no, I mean the thing with satellite is just it's more open. You can say what you want, do what you want. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but what I'm saying is for every station that you find on satellite, on Sirius XM,
Yeah.
there are 15 or 20 or an infinite number on the internet for free, doing the exact same
Right,
thing without
right.
commercials.
Right.
The lure of internet radios, they've got Oprah, they've got Howard Stern, they got Little Steven, they have a few Cousin Brucey, they have people that'll bring you over, but they're the only ones making any money. Anybody else is like, I've heard some real horror stories and people got involved, but the bottom line is, like I said, you could get that on regular radio if radio would just, care about giving you what you wanted instead
Right.
of,
The numbers.
Instead of the numbers,
selling ads
yeah.
to a jewelry store.
But you know who I used to listen to a lot? That's the Steve Harvey Show when he had it back in L.A. Or a few years back.
Was that on Sirius or?
No, that was on regular
Syndicated radio show.
Yeah, but it was great though. He was like no holds bar. It wasn't a lot of cursing or anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
But you could tell he was doing what he wanted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was pretty much free to just do what he wanted, and I love that. I used to want to be on radio when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? Crazy J didn't even know this about me before, when he asked me to be on the show. But I used to be really into radio just because of that show alone. You know what I'm saying? He just being able to just not be seen, but be heard so deeply. You know what I'm saying? That sparked such an interest for me.
Expressing is art.
Exactly,
It really
was
is.
an art, and I ended up doing comedy, and Crazy J found me doing stand up comedy. I never thought I was going to be a fucking comedian. You know what I'm saying? Let alone do what I love to do with this man. By being on the radio.
Yeah.
It opened up so
natural
many
progression.
doors. Yeah,
It really
it was.
is.
It really was, man. And I'm glad that I got to actually hear something from you, man, and Crazy J's background that I didn't know about, man. That kind of
Oh no, that's
Spark some
that's the
inspiration for me.
heritage. That's where it gets started. But the bottom line message of all that I was getting to is check out internet radio. Go over there. Look at Live 365 as much as they suck. I'm serious. Just go check out Shoutcast. Okay, there's literally since Radionomy bought them, there's almost 50,000 stations.
We're
out
on
there.
Shoutcast Radio.
They're all free.
Okay.
That's all free. And if you have Bluetooth, anybody listening out there, you got it in your car. It's no longer a big contraption-filled, wire-filled mess. Bluetooth, and you're there. Boom, it's in your car. So the day is coming. The day of reckoning is coming.
Well, that's funny that you bring up Bluetooth for a guy that don't own a cell phone.
Well, sorry about that.
You don't own a cell phone?
I don't own a cell phone. I'm the last living human who doesn't have a cell phone.
That's fucking amazing right there. How
I
do you
did not know this
own a
about
fucking
Dennis
cell phone?
until we were at the convention center and they were doing the plaque dedication for the Beatles.
Yeah.
And he mentioned that he didn't have a cell phone.
Wants to be
No.
off the grid.
No.
Off the grid, right?
Yes and no. I like being on the grid to a point, but here's the thing. When the phone rings at my house, I say, shit! God, I'm working on something! I don't want to take that with me everywhere I go.
I understand.
And not only that, the telephone is pretty far down on the list of what these things do anymore, from what I understand, and I don't...
That's how I brought it up. I go, because I saw how he was recording something. I go, there's a really cool app for your phone called Spreaker. He goes, I don't have a cell
You
phone.
realize I was holding a camera, the kind that doesn't have a phone in it. You know?
Right.
So, but no, that day will come. It's
You
like
are old school.
Right. He's super old
the
school.
oldest of possible schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the day's coming. I'll break down and get one eventually. But but that's your key.
As soon as he knows they catch on.
Yeah,
Right.
as soon as I'm sure it's
But you know what though?
As soon as he knows it's not just a fad.
Exactly.
right.
Yeah, I don't know.
The day after I get one, it'll be something. They plant chips in your head. You
Yeah.
don't need one anymore.
And then you just answer the phone just in your mouth. Just,
Exactly.
Hello? What's up? You call me? Yeah. All right, dog.
As soon as he gets his cell phone, they'll switch over to a chip, and he'll be like, "Shit!"
Exactly.
But that would suck though, man. Could y'all imagine ringing in your head and shit?
Oh,
man?
yeah. Spam emails.
Stop calling me.
You be getting spam texts in your head.
Yeah, fuck that. You have a vibrator in your cheek and shit.
So, Breakfast from the Beatles is syndicated. You
Yes,
send
it
it
is.
out. When does it air here?
It airs here in town on Cool 102, terrestrial 102.3, every Saturday morning at 7. I'm deeply grateful that they brought the show back because it has a Las Vegas heritage. And like I said, when KKLZ was done in, it was yanked from there. I had a short stretch on a bizarre station called The Q. It didn't fit there, and then they changed formats and it went away. So I'm really happy that the oldie station brought it back here in Las Vegas. It's on iTunes. Anytime you miss a show on Saturday morning, you can catch the Replayer podcast on iTunes. The website's BeatlesRadioshow.com. I just revamped it so instead of ugly orange and gray, it's pretty yellow and blue, and all kinds of features about the Beatles. I stay very up on Beatles news, and that page, the Beatles news page there, is updated regularly. And I also have Classic Rock webcast, LV Classic Rock. And,
LV Classic Rock,
Real
great
proud
station.
of both, and working my ass off on both, and it's gratifying to hear back from listeners, as I know you know. And I'm
Yeah.
really, really glad you had me in today.
Absolutely. I would love to have you come on our Classic Rock show and bring some of your favorites.
We're gonna do that. That'll
I
be
think-
fun. Yeah,
I
I
think
will.
it'll be fun.
Yeah, because I got some stuff.
Give it up for Dennis Mitchell, everybody.
Dennis Mitchell.
Darius.
Mitchell.
Gary Egling, good to see you again. Mr. Nirvana Man coming up here.
A legend in radio.
Dennis Mitchell. Dennis
Thank you,
Mitchell.
Crazy Jay.
And we'll be back, everybody, right after this. Right now, it is the music of Avalon Landing, who we will be partying with tomorrow over at the Avalon.
Yeah.
You always treat me like a ghost, mine.